Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. All right, folks, Big Paul here with IFBB Pro Bodybuilder Andrea Saurer. What's up, Andrea?
Hello. Thanks for having me on. Finally.
I know it's been a while in the making. I haven't been able to fit you in, or I just haven't gotten to it.
Well, better late than never.
Yeah, I know. We finally got you on. So we just finished up competition season. Had two shows. We did the Vancouver and the New York Pro. It was fun getting up there to the New York Pro with you. That was my first time at a pro show as a coach. So that was really a cool experience.
Yes, and it was the first time I got to meet you in person. So that was awesome having you there. Thank you so much for the support.
Well, you did fantastic. I can't believe how long the day is for the pro shows. Oh my God, that is a long day. I'm used to the local shows that are over quick.
Oh, because the NPC shows are even longer out here. The NPC shows are like 12 hours long. So,
oh my God, see, they've started this new format here on the East Coast where the shows now, like, they have all the men in the morning and they're done by 1, 2 in the afternoon. So they do prejudging and finals all together, and then they do the women in the afternoon.
Oh wow!
So they split it up that way. I think it's a lot better
That's
of a
cool.
way of doing it.
Yeah, there's so many people in Southern California that these shows literally go. One of my clients just went to a big show, and it starts at like 9, and he didn't even leave and get out of finals till 9:45 at night. So they're wicked long.
Yeah, the hard part with all that is maintaining your conditioning through the day. Like, I just don't know how. I don't know. It's almost like they got to rethink things a little bit, because it's like you know how it goes. As the day goes, you start to fade a little bit. Like, I feel sorry for the competitors. Wouldn't these shows go super late?
Yeah, with the pro shows, at least we have a better idea of what time we're going on prejudging and finals. So that's one courtesy that the pros get, is at least we know when we're going on, so we can be prepared.
Yeah, on the amateur shows, it's never like, I've had some guys on national shows and, like, shit, they don't know what time they're going to go on. It's just like, I've just gotten to the point where I tell people just to pack their food with them and just eat their regular meals, and then it's just we'll just roll with what happens.
Yeah,
it's kind of what's going on now. But
sure.
Anyway, I we definitely learned some stuff. I thought you did fantastic.
I looked my best ever, thanks to your help. That's definitely the best I ever looked in New York, but I'm still frustrated because I'm not getting the fullness that I need to be competitive on stage. So I have a smaller
New York.
I have a much smaller frame. I'm only 5'3", so my structure is one of the smaller body types on the pro stage. So I always try to do my best with conditioning, because I know I don't have the structure to out muscle a lot of my competitors. So conditioning has always been my thing, but it hasn't rewarded me lately, especially the last 2 seasons. I have not done well. I keep placing in that 6th to 8th range. My pro debut, I placed in the top 5, but that was my best placing ever, and I'm just really struggling to get back into that top 5 spot.
Well, the thing is, even at that, you're one of the best in the world at what you do. So it's hard to lose perspective.
Thank you.
Or it's easy to lose perspective of that sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
In bodybuilding, we're so self critical about each other, but on that day, you're one of the best in the world. So
yeah, and women from all over the world came to that New York Pro. I competed against a woman from China. She flew all the way in from China, and from the Czech Republic. So they really are big shows, and I'm proud to be there. I really wanted the opportunity to step on the New York Pro stage, because I knew it was one of the bigger main season shows, and it was a great lineup, and I'm not unhappy with my placing at all. I'm just frustrated with the fact that I can't master this peak week protocol. I can't seem to get that fullness that I got like the next week when you had me on that rebound. I looked phenomenal in the rebound, and I still look my best ever.
Everybody looks better the week after the show. That's the curse.
If I could tap into that rebound and still get the dryness and the conditioning on stage, man, I would be unstoppable.
The rebound cracks me up. I get a lot of people. There's some coaches and just other people out there that say that the whole rebound thing is not real. Like they're like, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
I looked my best ever that week. It was just so much fun to eat and train and really enjoy the reward of competing. And I that's why I personally enjoy competing. It's because, like, in order to make those gains, you have to deplete yourself down to such a low state in order to really soak up all those nutrients and gain that quality muscle and fill out. And man, we made it happen because I'm still reaping the benefits of being depleted and then the rebound. I've had amazing results on your diet.
Yeah, and post show, that's the thing. And I think that this is the error that a lot of I see a lot of coaches make and a lot of competitors make. Like post show, they pull all their gear out. They think they need to clean out after the show, and then you have a hormonal crash, and then they reverse diet. They slowly increase the food, and those are, like, sort of, in my opinion, the two absolute worst things you can do, because if you pull all the gear out, then you're going to have a hormonal crash. You're just going to gain a bunch of fat, and you're going to have this giant estrogen rebound where you're just going to be hungry and bloated, and then you end up cheating anyway because you're not pushing your calories high enough. In my opinion, why not take advantage of it when you're at your appetite's going to be the best it's going to be all year, because as you get in the off season, it gets really fucking hard to eat sometimes.
Yes, we pushed the food this off season, and
and then after a while you just don't want to eat, and that's where I'm at right now. And then your insulin sensitivity is high, and then your motivation to train is super high after a show because you feel so good.
I had the time of my life. It was the first time I've ever had like a set plan post competition, so that was very pleasurable to just know that I have a program to stick to. So I never really went crazy that following week because I stuck to your rebound plan, and I enjoyed the carbs. I mean, every day was a high carb day, and then I really only did like 2 cheat meals during that week. I had Monday, I did a cheat meal that night, and I had one other cheat meal like Thursday night, just because I was so full from all the carbs that, I didn't even really want a cheat meal, but I got 2 of them in that were delicious. And I really enjoyed the carbs, just eating the clean carbs and just filling out and training hard. I had so much motivation and dedication to continue with cardio. I'm still doing a minimum of 45 minutes of cardio daily just to stay lean and reap these benefits, because it's been a joy training again 5 weeks post show now. And this is the first time where it doesn't feel like a job. I'm just really enjoying bodybuilding again. And that passion has like come to the surface where it's just, I have more motivation and dedication than ever now. It's ironic.
Yep.
But I don't know. I just don't like preps because I get so depleted. I mean, nobody likes preps because you're starving and cranky and tired. And I don't know. I just had a really tough prep this season with injuries and illness where it was just miserable. It was just really, really hard. This was definitely the most challenging prep I've ever had. And it showed in the Vancouver, because I just wasn't able to do the cardio that I wanted or needed to bring in that kind of conditioning. But I still would have done it all over again just to get these rewards from the rebound, because, man, I look my best ever now, and it shows.
Yeah, I tell you, people don't understand the benefit of the rebound and how good you look post show, and just how crazy full you get after the show. Man, you battled through some stuff. I tell you what, you are one of the toughest people I work with. You are no complaints, and you just keep battling through stuff. Like there were several times it's like I felt bad for you. I'm like, maybe we should. There was no giving up. You were not pulling out. You were not not giving up. But I mean,
when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, especially when it comes to shows. I don't care. I went and learned how to swim because I couldn't do my dang cardio from my foot injury. And so I was swimming, which was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, to try to learn how to like professionally swim in these lap pools. I hated it. It was awful.
Well, that's something I tell people, like if they get, you know, and that's a lesson you can learn from, for anything, for bodybuilding, business, or whatever, but shit doesn't always go according to plan, and you just got to adapt and figure out a way through, and just get yourself to the finish line. You definitely did that, and no complaints, no deviations on the diet. You were a warrior and battled through some stuff.
For sure. Thank you. I had an amazing coach, and I've just always been super dedicated, consistent, and persistent when it comes to competing. You know, if I'm gonna say I'm doing a show, I'm gonna do it, even though I didn't show up as conditioned as I would have liked to be in Vancouver. I mean, I barely even made it there. The travel conditionings were so chaotic. I barely even made it to the island. So there were so many complications going into the Vancouver. By the time I got back into the States, and I knew I had like 3 or 4 weeks before the New York, we just went balls to the wall, and I was grinding harder than ever. And in 3 weeks, I think I lost 10 or 12 pounds in those 3 weeks between the two shows.
Yeah, so, you really pushed it hard. Were, before we came on, we were talking about your Dexa scan. You're one of the rare exceptions of people that actually gain muscle on prep. You came out with 7 pounds more tissue than you started. That was pretty insane.
On a diet. So this was before Vancouver. I got a Dexa scan before I left, and my body fat was around 8%, but I had gained 7 pounds of lean tissue. So I was thrilled about that.
I wonder where you were. Probably, I would guess you had to have been close to 5% at the New York Pro.
That's where I usually land, anywhere between 5 or 6. When I've gotten Dexas in the previous seasons, my last show in 21, the Dexa read 5%. So I usually get much leaner than my competitors, but it's not rewarding me anymore. For some reason, I'm just not able to stack up against these bigger, fuller women, and that's okay. You know, it's just that's the way it goes. Sometimes you show up, you don't know who's going to be there, and you know, it wasn't in my favor this time at the New York, and that's okay. I'm still very pleased with my look. I'm extremely happy with my performance. It was a great experience. I loved having you there. My family showed up from Massachusetts, so the whole day was just amazing, and I had an awesome time.
It's funny that you know how, you know, it's crazy how big some of those girls are, because you are not small. You're short, but you have.
That was what you said the first time we met. You're like, you're a lot bigger than I.
Yeah. I get the same thing to people are like, holy crap, you're bigger than I thought you were. But but yeah, the pictures don't translate it well. You carry a lot of muscle on that small frame. So,
for my height, I do, you know, especially in the off season, we got up to like 183.
Yeah, what are you, 5'2"?
Last year, 5'3".
5'3".
I was still pretty lean in the off season, but you know, I usually get up to about 183 in the off season.
Yeah, and you were at what stage? What were we at? 150 something?
The New York, I was 148.
148, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean that's a lot on your frame. I mean pounds per inch, you know.
And it was a lot to lose. That's why I'm trying not to go through all that again, because it's not as easy to get those glutes and hamstrings to come in when you're battling, you know, a 30-pound weight loss.
Well, the bigger you get in the off season, or the fatter you get in the off season, the more you got to work on prep to get it off. So yeah, there is that. But
and it sucks,
I mean, sometimes you have to trade a little bit of fat to gain some muscle. I mean, it's just how it is. But you can keep it tighter. I mean, that's kind of the premise with the whole carb cycling thing is, you know, we do mix in the low days. We do keep some cardio going in the off season to try to keep you tighter, and we keep the fats relatively low.
I love the carb cycling. So if there's one plug that I can give you, Paul, is hire him, because the carb cycling is magical. I've never done carb cycling on a prep or like ever, not as structured as this was, and it works miracles. I'm telling you, it makes your prep more pleasurable, and you just make way better gains. I honestly think that's why I was able to gain 7 pounds on a diet, because one, I do train very hard. My training is very intense. I learned from Dorian Yates, who is a very known for his intensity, but it's a combination of everything, as you know, training, diet, cardio plays a minimal part. That's more when it comes to body fat, but the training and the diet is honestly what I think led me to be able to gain 7 pounds on a diet with no trend. So you can say all you want about, oh, it's PEDs, it's because she's on drugs, but it's way more than that. I'm telling you, the carb cycling is magical, and you need to hire this guy just so that he can put you on this magical diet. Because my training never really changed. I'm still doing the same routine that he provided for me back in last September, when we started the off season. My training is still the same. The sets and the reps may be different, but for the most part, the exercises and the days are pretty much the same. I haven't really changed anything there. I love the routine. It works very well, especially as I continue to age. It's a lot easier on the injuries. So you just
I see it.
Can't do that super heavy lifting anymore.
No, I can't do it anymore either. The carb cycling though is magic. I see it all the time with people. Like I'll get people that come to me, and literally we change nothing with the PEDs and whatnot, and we start carb cycling, and their bodies just transform. It works fantastic. It's I wish I could take credit for it, but it's a lot of it. I don't know that Justin invented it, but he's definitely the guy that perfected it, Justin Harris. And
it just makes it so much more enjoyable. One, usually every day was the same on my diets, usually going into a show. It's like every day is the same, no carbs, no carbs, no carbs. And I mean, at least like with this, even now, I still have, something to look forward to. I have one high carb day a week, and it's just something to look forward to. So it's the fact that it's like constantly evolving and changing, and you have your low days and your medium days and that one high day. It just, the variety of it really keeps you motivated and changing, and just you got to have something to look forward to in the sport. You need some kind of reward, and that's why everybody has a cheat meal or does a cheat meal, because it's just, you need to have some kind of reward in the system for it to work consistently over decades. Like I've been doing it. I've been competing for 15 years now. And I would like to say that I think I'm done, but you just never know. I don't know. I got to see how I feel next year.
Every bodybuilder I've seen, every show is their last show.
Not me. Not this. This prep was so hard and miserable, Paul, that I'm honest. I was telling Rob this morning, I was just like, I'm enjoying this way too much right now. Like I am in the prime of my bodybuilding career now, in the present, and like I'm enjoying this so much that I said to him, why do I want to put myself back in that miserable state? I'm just having too much fun with this now, where I don't want to lose this feeling, because it feels so good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with bodybuilding, it's a sport. This is something that's really cool with bodybuilding. You don't peak until later. It's not like football, football or any other sport where you're done in your mid-30s. We don't peak in bodybuilding until our 40s.
I agree.
You're getting into your prime years right now.
I'm definitely peaking now, because I've never looked this good. It's amazing. I can't believe I've been able to maintain this kind of conditioning and stay this lean 5 weeks post show. Usually my hormones the estrogen just spikes, and I'm just fat, like most female competitors are after a show. They just binge eat. They don't do cardio. I used to always fall into a depression post show, and I don't think it was because I was like lost. I just think it was the hormones that once that estrogen comes back, you're like so overwhelmed with depression that it's hard to train. And you know, I've been there where it's like I don't even want to work out, but not this time. I've been like I said, more motivated and dedicated than ever to my training, my diet, and the cardio now. I don't know if it was the 8th place I got in New York or just the fact that the rebound was so awesome. I'm just keeping that ball rolling.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge mistake that people make. Like I said, post show is pulling the hormones. You know, the reverse diet thing. I mean, you don't have to take as much. You just get rid of the toxic shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you don't need to take Tren. You don't need to pound the orals and stuff. You can just run something clean like Primobolan after a show, just to keep your hormones in check, and you'll make the best progress of your life. I've seen it over and over and over and over again.
I believe you, because this truly is the best I've ever looked, and I feel amazing, which is more important. I feel so good that I'm getting up like all hours of the night to eat, and like I would have never done that before. Now, like on my high days, I look forward to them so much that I'm getting up at like 3 a.m. to start eating, and then I get up again at 6 to eat, and it's like, you know, you gotta start early to get all those carbs in. So the earlier I start, it's like the better the day ends, and then I can go to bed at a decent hour, and it's fun. It's pleasurable.
I wish I was that motivated to eat right now. I'm dreading every meal. I'm
I
having to
never
eat.
was before, but now, you know, and especially after starving for 9 months, you're just like, man, feed me all the carbs.
The whole higher carb approach is interesting too, and this is another thing that always baffles me with people. Like, they don't eat. A lot of people truly don't eat enough carbs to fill out. And it's just like, it's mind numbing. I see a lot of people with the diets. This is a pet peeve of mine. They have too much fat in the diet and not enough carbs. And really, when you logically just take a step back and think about how muscles work, they run off of glucose, which is carbohydrates.
Right.
And glucose is what makes you look full. If you want to look full, you want to have the big, round, full look with muscles. You know, this is another thing too. Like, I hear people talk about all the time, you know, more protein, more protein. When you actually take a step back and see what a muscle is actually made of, it's only about 25% of the muscle is actual protein structures. The rest of it's water, you know, and all the other stuff, the sarcoplasmic tissue that's there. And with you know, eating more carbohydrates, you're going to pull more water into the muscle. So if I recall correctly, it's 1 part carbohydrates, 3 parts water. So it's if you want that big full look, you want to perform well in the gym, you have to eat carbs. It just blows my mind that people have not figured that out. A lot of people haven't figured that out by now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely taught me the art of bodybuilding is keeping the muscles full, because I never experienced that until I started this carb cycling diet. And it's true. It's like the muscles have to stay full in order to achieve that roundness. So
Yep.
you got to have that at least one high day to fill up your tanks, because I noticed, like, after my high days, yeah, my weight skyrockets, but then 2 days later, I'm back down to my goal is to stay within 15 pounds of my stage weight, and I'm right back in that range.
Yep.
This morning, you know, and it just takes a couple days to lose the water, and I'm like right back to at my peak and looking my best, but the muscles are always full and round because of that one high day. And so
it's that 3D look that they talk about. You hear people talk about chasing all the time. Now, there are some people that are just freaks of nature that stay full looking all the time. It just baffles me how they can do it, but I've seen them. They're anomalies. They're rare. For most people, they need to pound the carbohydrates to keep that full look.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of bodybuilders that are afraid of carbs. Even, you know, men, I'm sure you've really pushed the carbs up there and way more than what they've ever consumed, and they look their best from it.
Yep. Yeah, they do. And the other benefit of it too is you actually get your metabolism ramped up too. It's almost like shoveling coal on a fire.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it post show. Your metabolism is probably running the hottest it's ever run.
I was just sweating eating my post-workout
Yeah.
meal. Just the post-workout meal, I start sweating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
It's
higher
pretty
carb than
wild.
the rest of the day on my medium days. So yeah, I'm a sweater. Once I eat
Yep.
those higher carb meals, I just start sweating instantly.
Yep. Yeah, and that's your metabolism spinning up. It's really interesting how it works. I wish they would do, there was some more scientific studies and data on it, but there really isn't. It's just, sort of bro science and what
Yeah.
we have learned from experimenting with things. But it works. It just does. And
Yeah.
everybody wants
Especially
it to be the PEDs. I mean, I'm not saying the PEDs don't work, but you're not even leveraging the PEDs properly if you're not eating the food that go with it. So,
right. Right.
so I mean,
Even
you've experienced it before.
on my high carb days, that's one of the reasons why I'm waking up is because I'm freaking starving. Once I get that first high carb meal in, even when I do go back to sleep, I wake up starving. So like, especially that week post show, I was like ravenous. Just the more carbs I ate, the hungrier I got and the leaner I was and more vascular I am now, even still today because of it.
I think this is recent, right? I wish I had a good one of you, but this was just a couple days ago, right?
That was when I was back home. That was the the week of my rebound.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
yes, it was like three. Let's see,
That
I'm trying
that was
to
actually my second cheat meal of that week. I
see
went
if
to
you
the
have anything.
restaurant back home that I have been dying to try, and I had a phenomenal meal. This
Yeah,
was
the legs,
yesterday. Yeah,
yeah, the legs are still like how vascular the legs are still are.
that was yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, they're still really vascular, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild
Still have
how much you
ab
can.
veins. My ab veins are still visible. It's crazy. I've never been able to hold on to this long, 5 weeks post show. It's just been like a huge reward because, like I said, usually I'm fat and I look bloated and I'm depressed, and this has been the opposite. And that's why I'm just grateful to have done a prep with you, but also to have competed, even though I didn't place where I would have liked to. But just doing all that hard work for the shows enabled me to have this look now, and which is priceless. And so I would go through all that all over again just to get this present look now.
Well, that'll catapult you in if you want to do more shows. That'll catapult you into other shows. This is the thing. Like, I think young competitors, I think this is a mistake that young competitors make. You get these people that never want to compete because they're worried about not being ready for it. I think this process of going through, it's like competing, depleting yourself, and then doing a rebound after shows. You come back
Yeah,
better each time.
100%.
And you have that window of progress after post show where you can just make a shit ton of progress. And like people that never compete don't ever experience that or never get truly shredded. They never experience that. They just kind of get stuck in mediocrity. I see it all the
Right.
time with people that come to me, or I see it in the gym. Like these people that they'll take a shit ton of gear and they never
Yeah.
progress. And it's
Right.
because they never have set the stage for progress.
Well, you have way more clients than I do, but I have one bodybuilding client that I just threw up on. I mean, we did a full like 9-month prep for his first bodybuilding show, and it was just a local show on Muscle Beach, and it was awesome. It was fun, and he won. He won
That's
the
awesome.
novice, and he took second in the open for his first time ever
That's
competing.
awesome.
But the 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 progress we've made just post show, it's like he looks amazing. He was like, I always wanted to look like a bodybuilder, and now I actually do. Even before we did the show, like he was just really fat. He was just he had a dad bod, and he was just super fat. And we worked on just building muscle in the off season, and then we dieted him down and depleted him for the show. And now he just looks amazing. He looks his best ever. He's probably never going to compete again. He doesn't care because he just looks like he's always wanted to look, and he's super happy with the results.
Yeah, and I'll do this with people that are not competitors. Just something,
Do like
for
a mock show.
yeah, just do a mock prep. I mean, you don't have to get
Yeah.
5% shredded, but if you get down below 10, That's good enough to catch a small rebound. Of course, the leaner you get, the better the rebound's going to be. That's just what I've seen. But I mean, if you think about it, it's you have a runway of gaining. I mean, you're always going to gain a little bit of body fat when you put on muscle. It's just how it goes. But if you keep your saturated fats low and your carbs high, you can minimize that. And then on top of it, if you toss in being super lean. So for example, if you're 5% body fat and you gain 5%, you're still 10% body fat when so if you over a 10 or a 12-week period of time, you've got a lot of runway. Whereas like if you're already, I'll get people come to me, they're already 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to push you up to 25 or 30. That's going to be damn near impossible to get lean from. That's not true. Within striking distance.
Right.
So and there's also this thing too, you may or may not know about, called the P ratio. They've done studies and whatnot. Some people buy into it, others don't. But the leaner that you are, the higher percentage of tissue that you gain when you start gaining is actually lean tissue versus body fat. So essentially, the higher your body fat gets, the more body fat that you gain.
The higher the lean tissue it gets.
I mean, like, so like if you start bulking at 25%, it might be something like 70% of the weight that you gain is actually fat, not muscle.
I see.
Whereas it's flipped in reverse, where if you're at 5%, it's probably 70-30 the other direction.
Okay.
I'm throwing out arbitrary numbers here. I don't know the exact
no, it makes
numbers,
sense
but
now. Yeah, I get it.
But that's what I've seen. You hit a certain body fat percentage. For men, it's somewhere around 12 to 15% that you get to a point where you just can't, you just start gaining more fat. Women, it's probably over 20%.
Yeah.
Not every woman's ripped like you. You're uncommon.
It's not easy, let me tell you. But I will say this, with women, I don't think we need to add fat. That's the only thing I don't follow on your diet. I don't add the fats into there because with women, I feel like it's just, we hold on to the fat, and I feel like the fat that's in the meats are enough. Like I used to only do 99% lean ground turkey on a prep, but now I'm doing like 93.7. I'm like, wow, this is freaking good. But because that fat content is already so high in 6 ounces of protein, that's good enough for me. Like that's all I'm gonna do for fats, because as a woman, we just hold on to those fats and we just store them more than men do. So that's one thing I've noticed throughout my whole career is like women, we need to stay away from fats, period. Whether you're on a prep or bulking or whatever, the more fat you can stay away from, the leaner you're going to stay. If you add the fats, which you can, I just feel like it causes your body fat to significantly increase. Whereas if you try to stay away from the fats, even though they're healthy fats or good fats, women just store it differently than men. Men, it's like poof, it just goes into muscle and fullness. But it's like with women, we carry it from belly button to knees. That's where we carry our fat, and it just
it's hormonal. Women are at a hormonal disadvantage when it comes to fat loss.
It's really tough. Yeah, it's really hard to lose as a woman.
You need a little bit of fat for vitamin up. You need some EFAs for vitamin uptake and nutrient transport, but you don't need a ton. Not as much as what people think. Honestly, it's just a few grams a day, probably.
I pound really good quality fish oils. I take my evening primrose oils. I love all that stuff, but I just think
you don't.
The fats
I've actually been pushing my fats even lower lately. I've been. I feel better. I feel like I digest my food better. I do keep some.
I don't digest them well. I never have been able to. I can't digest peanut butter. I can't digest like egg yolks. I can't digest fats.
Same here.
I've never been able to break them down.
Yeah, they upset my stomach.
Me too.
I'll keep some in just a little bit for, like I said, for health. What people get freaked out though is because they say, there is a certain amount of fat needed for hormone production, but in our community, we're getting our hormones from a needle. So
that's true.
It's not like we need fats.
I just feel like there's so many hidden fats in our foods that people don't realize, like cooking oils, even the spray. If you're just using a spray to coat the pan, like those are fats. You're consuming a lot more. Oats have fats in them, so even when you're doing oatmeal, like you're getting fats in there. There's just so many hidden fats in our food already that if women try to just really dial the fat down and keep it at a minimum, you're gonna get leaner by not even trying.
What's also too, like with the meats, like this is another thing that people don't know when they see 99% fat free. It's not like they're making the chicken or turkey in a lab. So
Right.
it's, and Justin talks about this all the time. I'll paraphrase what he's told me, but the turkey that 99% ground turkey that you eat, all turkeys have different body fat percentages, just like people.
That's
so
true.
it's an
now
average.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty details. Now you're really.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's like I had, my training partner, he used to work in a butcher shop, and he's like, how he told me, he's like, Paul, you know how we tell if the beef is 93.7 or 80/20, and I'm like, how? And he goes, we hold it in hand and look at it, and like that looks like 93.7, that looks like 80/20. So it's not like there's some science to it. So, but usually what I tell people is just try to get the leanest cut of meat that they can get and limit their fats.
I agree, because when you're doing 6 ounces of it, sometimes you're doing the ground. I know at least I do ground turkey at least like 3 or 4 times a day. It all adds up at the end of the day.
Man, I don't know how you do the ground turkey. I can't stand it.
The 93.7 is really good compared to the 99 that I've.
Yeah, the 93.7 is not bad.
The 93.7 is delicious.
I primarily do chicken, cod, and I'll do a little bit of ground beef here and there, but that's pretty much all I eat as far as protein goes anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Boring with my food. People make fun of my food. I don't even season my shit. I just put salt on it and that's it.
Yeah, I do too. But I stopped eating the ground beef. I was doing the ground beef like during the rebound, and when I was at home, I was getting the grass-fed beef, and when I came back to LA, I was eating it too. But it's just, I don't know. After a few weeks of it, I'm just like, I'm over the ground beef. I don't know. I just don't digest it well. I prefer poultry.
Yeah.
I do way better on just chicken and turkey. So that's pretty much all I consume.
Ground beef is harder to digest. So like what I'll do, my trick with the ground beef is I'll make it my last meal.
Okay.
Because it is slower digesting. So like if you want to sustain amino acids throughout the night, it's something you can eat before bed that's going to digest slowly through the night.
Got it.
And then like when I need to pound my food down during the day, I'll stick with chicken and cod and things like that go down easy.
Yep.
But digest fast. I definitely don't want to eat a steak before I go lift.
For sure.
So I don't want to be burping that up while I'm doing, leg presses and shit. So
yeah, I have really bad acid reflux.
You and me both.
Major problems with GERD, and so the beef just seems to irritate it more. So it's just too acidic for me. I got to stay away from it.
Everybody that's done bodybuilding ends up with GERD or acid reflux. It's from pounding all the food for years and years. It ends up screwing you up.
Another price that we pay.
Part of the silly lifestyle. I saw Jay Cutler. I think it was last week. He had a thing up, but he was talking about eating for bodybuilding, and he was like, you spend half the year hating food, and then you spend the other half of the year starving.
It's true.
So that's the bodybuilding lifestyle with diet.
Totally. It's not easy.
I thought that was pretty funny, and that made me laugh. But all right, Andrea, let's wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on. Anything you want to promote while you're on here?
Thank you for having me. You can always go to ripvixen.com if you want to check out all my sites. My links are there. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on my YouTube here, but I don't really post much. You're going to get a lot more on my Instagram like Paul showed you.
And I'll post links to everything in the video description below, guys, if you want to check it out. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching.
Take care.
For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.